By the beginning of 1965, Viet Cong battlefield successes in Vietnam caused General William C. Westmoreland to request an increase of the American military presence there, launching a troop buildup that foreshadowed a long-term commitment of U.S. ground forces. During that year, the Army expanded from 1 million to 1.5 million, which required an additional 40 to 50,000 new junior officers for a force this size. ROTC production was in decline, and West Point commissioning was too slow to meet the urgency. To meet the demand for commissioned officers, the Transportation Corps, along with 5 other Army branches, received orders to activate officer candidate schools, complementing the schools already operated by the infantry and artillery. This would be the first time a transportation officer candidate school would be in operation since World War II. It began as a 2-phase program, with a 13-week Phase 1 conducted at Fort Knox, along with officer candidates from Armor, Ordnance, and Quartermaster.
While at Fort Knox, as an armored crewman, waiting on orders to go to Germany, the first sergeant says, the company commander wants to see you. You do as you're told and don't ask any questions. Yes, First Sergeant. So I went in, and he handed me a piece of paper. And he says, just sign it. And I said, sir, can I read it? Did I ask you to read it? So I signed it. He says, now you can read it. So I signed up for OCS.
Transportation Corps candidates then went on to Fort Eustis for the final 10 weeks.
They were building an entire area for the OCS program that was under construction when I got here. There was some troop barracks, old troop barracks, 3-story concrete block buildings where we were.
Of course, when they first came in, they were scared like rabbits. And as I was when I was a candidate, once they got acclimated, you could start seeing the leaders pop out. When you gave them a leadership role, they did an outstanding job right away.
You are responsible for everything you do and don't do. You must be a team member and a team leader. There's standards and you must achieve those standards. Everything had a standard. You got a book on where to put your pencil on your desk, where everything had to go, where your socks went in the foot locker, where your uniforms and how they would be arrayed in the wall locker, how your bed was made. Everything had a standard. So that was a challenge. If you make a mistake, admit it. Just learn from it, and don't try not to repeat it. And take care of your people. It's not about you. You're part of something bigger than self.
On June 27, 1966, Class 15-66, the first Phase 2 TOCS class, graduated at Fort Eustis. 3 additional Phase 2 classes would follow. Company B had the honor of starting the first full 23-week TOCS class on July 1, 1966, and it was designated as Class 1-67 Bravo 1. New classes would follow at approximately 2-week intervals to form 25 more full-time classes. They were organized into the TOCS Regiment, which consisted of 6 companies, A through F, with each having 2 student companies for training.
I signed up for Artillery OCS. From there, I went to an Artillery OCS preparatory class at Fort Sill. As we were about to graduate, I was told that we had 3 new OCSs, Transportation, Ordnance, and Quartermaster, and that I was to reapply for one of those. So I didn't want to leave artillery, but I signed up for transportation because I knew what that meant, and wound up at Fort Eustis.
In my, probably 3rd or 4th week in basic training, I reported to the company commander. They, said, here's an offer. Would you like to take it? And I said, what is it? And he said, well, Officer Candidate School. And I said, what's that? And that went through the whole thing. And I said, that sounds very good. And I said, do I pick the branch or the type of Army I'm going to go to? And he said, no, we'll tell you. So he asked me what I did when I wasn't in school. I told him I drove trucks. I was a truck driver. So for some reason, he recommended I go to transportation.
First, the basic phase, which is about 13 weeks or so, you're going through the combat arms kind of training and just general soldier training and learning it from an officer's perspective, I suppose. So we had a lot of classroom training in just general subjects. Plus, that was the range qualifications, the gas chamber, and those things for the original part. And then we also had a tactical exercise, field exercise that we had early on.
I thought it was structured, and I was never really very good at that. And that was one of the things that was actually good for me. I mean, I thought it was structured, and I thought it was taxing but not demanding. I mean, if you follow the rules and as a group you work together, it worked out well and everybody gained.
The transportation-specific training didn't really come until the middle phase when we started doing the rail and working at the land ship, loading and unloading the land ship that most people remember. And we went down to Langley and we had to do an aerial load plan and then actually load it at Langley and fly around in C-130. And then we went to the Norfolk port and saw a couple of ships in port and got to tour them. So that was the intermediate phase.
The TAC officers we had were very fair. They were tough on us. Again, followed the rules. You did what they told you. It was good. You know, I didn't, other than senior OCS candidates.
If we had a bad day, one of the guys would say, hey, this is all worth it. Inside of our helmet liners from the very beginning, we put a gold bar inside the helmet liner that we wore, and if you had a bad day, you'd pull that helmet liner down to focus on that gold bar to say that this is the prize, this is what I'm working for.
The last class, Class 2-68, Bravo 2, graduated on February 28, 1968. During its short history, more than 2,400 Transportation Corps Second Lieutenants were commissioned at Fort Eustis from a total of 30 TOCS candidate classes. Its graduates served in assignments throughout the Army and around the world.
It gave me decision-making skills that I didn't have, confidence that I didn't have, and a clear understanding of why it's important to make the right decisions for the right reasons.
It has made me who I am today, and I owe an awful lot to the people that helped me through in my class and to the OCS program in general.
And I think what it did, it also matured me. But I'm not sure that I was quite ready to be doing much of anything. So, it was a great experience, and it did majorly change my life.
The TOCS regiment was officially deactivated in March 1968, while the war in Southeast Asia raged on for another 4 years.